self-conscious. She has no idea what she doing in college. That major that she majored in don't make no money, but she won't drop out. Her parents will look at her funny. Now, tell me that ain't insecure. The concept of school seems so secure. Sophomore 3 years, ain't picked a career. She like, fuck it, I'll just stay down her and do it.
We're not just talking about reading and writing the word in the world. We're talking about just particularly writing, producing, words and worlds, right? What type of world do we want to see? And in place of, the American Apparel ad with the lady's butt sticking out, what do we put there? How do we clothe her? How do we understand her? How do we rewrite that oppression? In ways that interrupt these vicious cycles of, oppression that play out daily. Hip hop can, instead of being about just gross materialism, it can be about, interrupting the discourses and ideology that forces capitalism down our throat. Instead of hip hop being about violence, it might now be about peace, right? When we produce it in a different way. Instead of hip hop being about profanity and languages of put down, how can it be about languages of empowerment? If you can learn, chiasmus from hip hop, if you can learn alliteration from hip hop, assonance, consonants, if you can, learn a deep critical reading by reading hip hop texts, as deep, if not deeper, than you can by reading Shakespeare, why is it mandatory that you take Shakespeare and not mandatory that you take hip hop? And there are other rules that get broken. Like I can friend you on Facebook. Friend is a noun that now becomes a verb. I can chair your committee. A noun that now becomes a verb. Right? So certain people get to break the rules, and certain other people don't get to break the rules. The question here is, who gets to break the rules and to what effect? Especially inside of classrooms where we have students who come from homes where this language is spoken. We have students who live lives, participate in friendship groups where this language is spoken, where we have students who make sense of themselves, who make sense of the world based on that language. What we're saying to those students is that, they're not only is their language illegitimate, we're saying that the way they see the world is illegitimate. We tell, young urban kids, for instance, that their identities don't matter. We tell them that the way they see the world doesn't matter. Not only do we call their identities criminal, we call them deficit. We tell them that they lack, that they can't read. And so we got young black men who read and write in profound ways outside a classroom. When they go into classrooms and we feed them Beowulf, we tell them that they can't read. We call them disengaged readers. Follow those same young people with burgeoning identities outside the classroom. They're reading and writing in complicated and beautiful ways, yet in ways that we fail to recognize and value. They're not disengaged. We're disengaged.
It just goes to show that it's not that they're dumb. It's not that they can't do it. They're just not interested in what they're teaching. They come to this literacy through hip-hop class, and they're the smartest kids ever.
I'll share with you what the students have been saying, because oftentimes they ask better questions than I ask, which is where we draw our scholarship from. We draw it from them because they're in the midst of the world that they're interpreting and reifying. And so I always listen to them to get a sense of the questions that I need to be asking because they're living the stuff, right?
What does that mean?
To take something in.
Okay, excellent. To absorb. Anyone?
Everywhere, all the time.
So what is ubiquitous assimilation?
Always absorbing everything, everywhere, all the time.
Well done, George. How are you to imagine anything if the images are always provided for you? Who here read 1984 last year? Good. Anyone? Meredith?
Having two opposing beliefs at once and believing that both are true.
Excellent, Meredith.
Why do you always suck his dick, you fucking kiss ass?
To deliberately believe in lies while knowing they're false. Examples of this in everyday life. Oh, I need to be pretty to be happy. I need surgery to be pretty. I need to be thin, famous, fashionable. Our young men today are being told that women are whores, bitches, things to be screwed, beaten, shit on, and shamed. This is a marketing holocaust. 24 hours a day, for the rest of our lives, the powers that be are hard at work, dumbing us to death. So, to defend ourselves and fight against assimilating this dullness into our thought processes, we must learn to read, to stimulate our own imaginations, to cultivate our own consciousness, our own belief systems. We all need these skills to defend, to preserve our own minds.